Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. I, as promised, told you guys that I'm going to be going live tonight on these here internet streets. So, I actually did not get a chance or actually didn't get any questions from anybody. Of course, I'm live here on Instagram and I'm also live here on you guys with Facebook, YouTube, um, and LinkedIn. Of course, you know, guys, I talk about LinkedIn all the time in a lot of my videos, how important it is as a professional to have LinkedIn in your life, to have LinkedIn as far as your professional life is concerned, because LinkedIn is a profile that you can definitely get found on. Now, guys, of course, we're going to talk about several things tonight. There's a couple of articles and there's a couple of videos that I want to go over with you all, of course. And hello there, Miss Credit Solutionist. Just want to listen. Of course, watch and chill. Share that with your friends that you know is going to find it helpful. Sorry about that, y'all. Instagram, I do not want to disappoint, nor do I want to actually take your action. Of course, my little stand just decided to drop down, but we persevere. All right, guys, listen. I want to talk about one thing first. I want to talk about a particular article. Hello, copious cat. How you doing? Welcome to the show tonight. Want to make sure that you guys have what you need, job wise, interview wise, salary negotiation wise. So we're going to touch on a couple of articles tonight, and also this interesting video from Mr. Ramsey himself. I have talked about him before. And of course, Mr. Ramsey has this wonderful show, and I have a lot of respect for what his company does. But unfortunately, there are some things that he talks about that just, ugh, unfortunately, as an HR professional, it exhausts my soul. Hello, Miss Valencia. How you doing? Welcome to the live with Squeaky Cow Clean Services. Of course, I am going to be putting things on the live. It may not show up on Instagram, but you can definitely check my YouTube, which is youtube.com/Mentor Shelley. You can connect there to see what I am showing on the screen, guys. All right, so let's talk about the first thing we are looking at here. Let's see. Y'all, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. Forgive me, y'all. I want to share my screen. So, okay. Let's do the window here. All righty. Okay. I'm going to share with y'all. Okay. Let's not get, yes. There we go. All right, guys. We're going to talk about, there we go. This. No. I don't want to remove myself. All right, guys, tell me in the chat if you are seeing the article on the screen, guys. You could be quiet quitting on your job and not even know it. Have you guys ever heard of that term, quiet quitting? I've been hearing about this term, especially in the last, year, where people are literally doing the bare, when I say bare, I mean bare minimum, just to make sure they keep their job until they either find something else or they find or their side hustle gets to a point where they don't need a job anymore. So we're going to talk about this little article here called quiet quitting. You could be quiet quitting your job and not even knowing it. Yeah, because sometimes some of these jobs can be getting on your nerves. Trust me. I know I've experienced a few of those. Trust me, I know. So let's jump into this real quick, and then we're going to go to the juicy stuff, Mr. Ramsey. And then if you guys want me to review any resumes right here on, of course, I'll redact it. I'll take off the names and things of that nature. But if you want me to review a resume or you have questions in regards to resumes, cover letters, job search, salary negotiation, and the like, put them in the chat, guys. All right? Now, according to this article, in 2001, when Paige West was 23 years old. Okay, this article is actually from HuffPost, and it was published on Tuesday, so it's only a few days old. In 2001, when Paige West was 23-year-old transportation analyst at her first job out of college, she realized that she had chosen the wrong major and career. There's a whole lot of people that went to school and actually decided to do something that they absolutely hate now. So that's not surprising at all. It was a pretty high stress, high output, a lot of deadlines, West said. There were people who were super passionate about that aspect, but I wasn't one of them, obviously. West was losing sleep, her hair, over the stress of being in an engineering field that she knew deep down wasn't right for her. She regularly went to her job feeling nauseous. Listen to me. When the mental is affected, your very nerves get involved and tell you, "No, I don't like this. Could you please?" So, you know, that definitely can happen. I've actually had that experience with some jobs before where they think talking about your drinking escapades is great conversation. Like anybody wants to hear that. I just want to do my work and go home. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back. Let's get back on task here because y'all know some of these employers, I can talk about them till I'm blue in the face because some of them are ratchet. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to use that word as an HR professional. Some of these employers are absolutely ratchet. Sorry. Just got to keep it 1,000. Now, she did her work, but needing relief, she turned down extra assignments. So she's not trying to advance in this career. She wants to get the hell out of there. But needed relief, and she turned down extra assignments and opportunities to get professional engineering license that would have enabled her to advance within the company. When they would ask me, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years at this company?" I literally had no answer for them, West said. That's when it became apparent that I had to figure something out. West said her decision not to go above and beyond at work had a name. She was quiet quitting as she saved up her money for her next move. At least she did one thing right. She actually saved up some money because she knew if she's going to make a move, she's going to have to do it with some cash. That is smart. Now, to me, quiet quitting is more of a mindset shift than it is an actual action, she said. It's dismissing the idea that that I need to give this my everything. Hold on a second. Let me come back on this screen for a second, y'all. Hold on a second. It doesn't matter who you're working for. Yes, credit solutionist. Yeah, of course, quiet quitting your last corporate job. Credit solutionist said, "I remember quiet quitting my last corporate job. Took me a month of clearing out my office every day. No one noticed." Now, of course, they're not going to notice. They only care about the work that you do. So, of course, they're not going to notice. By the time they realize, you done said peace out. So, really, at the end of the day, it's not about, "Oh my gosh, you're going to." They only care about what you're producing for them, literally. And if you're not producing, they're going to fire you anyway. So, if you don't want to be there anymore, listen, I always tell you guys about there's videos that I have on my YouTube channel. There's videos that I have out there. I'm solely getting my reins with TikTok, but you gave them 5 days notice. There's one company I only gave them half a day. As an HR professional, that's not how you're supposed to do it, guys. That was the first and only time I have ever done that in my professional life. Do not give them a whole day. But it had to be done. Extenuating circumstances. That's going to be another story time. But I digress. Listen, sometimes things just happen and you got to do what you got to do, because I always tell you guys, in especially in my last few videos, you are in the business of you first. You're not working these jobs to be their slave, which we're going to touch on that in a little bit when we look at Dave's video. Yeah. They could be mad. Listen to me, credit solutions. They could be mad till the cows come home. You are doing it for your own good, for your mental health, for your mental health. Half of these jobs don't care about your mental health. They care about the bottom line that you are producing for them at a reduced rate. Let's be clear. because I got to talk to my Instagram folks too. Got to make sure y'all included, although you're not seeing some of the stuff. But let's jump back in here. They'll be all right, Credit Solution. They're going to be all right. All right, let's get back to the article, folks. Okay. Now, all right, so let me see here. To me, the idea of quiet quitting is more of a mindset shift than it is an actual action, she said. It's dismissing the idea that I need to give everything. I can just put the effort in that's what is required for the job. Yes. Giving them exactly what they asked for. Nothing more, nothing less. Hey, I can just put my effort into what's required to do the job and then put the rest of my energy into figuring out whatever the heck else you want to do. Listen here. If you know for sure you don't want to be there anymore, please, oh please, figure out something. Like this young lady's doing. She's getting her money together. Okay, she's getting her mucha dinero together to make her next move. So why so many people want to quiet quit their jobs? 2022, between 2020 and 2022, it's produced a lot of interesting concepts and interesting behaviors and mindsets. We're going to talk about it. Quiet quitting is a new way for people to explain why they are not doing more than the bare minimum to stay employed. Guys, it's unfortunately they've been, because the corporate world has been set up in such a way that they're so used to people giving everything and not realizing that people have a choice. Now more than ever, people can actually work and build a business for themselves from the comfort of their home with this thing that we're talking through computers, through phones. The internet and social media is a wonderful thing. And it's opening up a lot of opportunities. And unfortunately, some employers are antiquated. But we'll get to that in a second. So many people in Reddit threads, YouTube videos, TikTok clips, we're on YouTube right now. As a matter of fact, I just opened my Reddit account, so I'll be on that more. I'm still trying to learn the lingo. It says many people in Reddit threads, YouTube videos, and TikTok clips use the term to describe their personal rebellious action against hustle culture, which holds that people need to constantly work to achieve career ambitions. Folks just saying, listen here, I do not want to give you all my effort. I want to give you the bare minimum, and then let me figure out something else on the side. You're still performing your duties, but you're no longer subscribing to the hustle culture mentality that work has to be your life, explained the TikToker Zilligan. Oh, wow. Oh, he has a little video. Let's play it so we can hear what he says. He says, the reality is it's not. And everybody is now. There we go.
I recently learned about this term called quiet quitting, where you're not outright quitting your job, but you're quitting the idea of going above and beyond. You're still performing your duties, but you're no longer subscribing to the hustle culture mentality that work has to be your life. The reality is it's not, and your worth as a person is not defined by your labor.
Okay. Did you guys hear that? Work does not have to be your life. So people are making the choice to quiet quit, which is do the bare minimum till you figure out something else. And in this young lady's case, she's saving her ducats. She's saving her money, honey. Okay. Also known as coasting. That would have been the old school term. Coasting, quiet quitting is now a new concept, but the pandemic has definitely exacerbated the trend. In a 2021 survey, 27,000 U.S. workers, Gallup found that only 36% of the people reported being engaged in their jobs. Really? They're just figuring that out? And it's way more percentages than that, but they're being kind. Now, only 36%. I'm sure there's more, but we digress. Now, let me see here. Only 36% of the people reported being engaged with their jobs, with the number of actively disengaged employees ticking up since 2020. As I said, it's going to be more. Last year, a LinkedIn survey described more Americans as sheltering in jobs as they waited out the pandemic for better opportunities. Top reasons people gave for staying in their jobs, including collecting a steady paycheck. Just to keep it 1,000. A lot of people are at their jobs right now for that very reason. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You make an honest living. Okay? Steady paycheck, obviously. And reasons people gave: steady paycheck, taking advantage of company benefits, not a bad reason to keep your job. Okay, wanting to wait for a more favorable job market, which 2020 to even to up to 2021 now, it's been way more favorable than it has been for like the last 30, 40, 50 years. And having no time or energy to focus on that job hunt. Career coach, like myself, Mr. Brian Creeley, believes he has seen more people than usual identify as quiet quitters in the past 18 months because workers are burned out by pandemic layoffs, because a lot of people got hit pretty hard. More than 50% of the workforce got hit pretty hard with that if you weren't in the essential, what they deemed as essential jobs. Because workers are burned out by the pandemic layoffs and tired from being forced out of the office and then being forced back in the office. Because I did talk about that in one of my videos about how some of these employers are threatened, and there's a lot of articles on LinkedIn that talk about how a lot of the employees are threatened by the fact that people are working from home and getting their job done. And some of them say, oh, well, they want engagement in the office, so they want people to come back. That we go talk about that more in another video. Now, let me see. Forced out of the office and then being forced back in the office. Creeley noted that wage growth stagnation could be a factor. You think? Now, if you get a 2 or 3% raise, when inflation hits, when inflation is at 8 or 9%, then they realize, why did I work so hard? It's not keeping up with inflation. Now, Nadia Delata, founder of Real You Leadership, has quiet quitted jobs in her career. She said, doing so can buy you time to think about what you really want. Essentially, quiet quitting is my first step before evaluating actually quitting and moving on to greener pastures once I was ready. Deala said, I've done this for all the reasons you can think of: burnout, career stagnancy, career changes, toxic work cultures, dissatisfaction with leadership's failure to promote diversity, equality, inclusion, you name it. I think quiet quitting is a great strategy to coast a bit, get paid, create a space to really think about what's important to you, align with your values, and decide what work will fit best in the lifestyle that you want. Guys, listen. Hey, Janice, how you doing? Listen, I am blessed to have my friends tonight coming in and joining us on the live show. Guys, listen, I'm gonna stop there with that particular article, but you get the idea of quiet quitting. It gives people the option, not that you're not doing your job, but you are doing what is required. I am doing good too, Janice. It's great to see you. Happy anniversary. I saw that earlier. Yay. Listen, guys, there's nothing wrong with taking your career in your own hands. At the end of the day, you are in the business of you first. If the job is not giving what it's supposed to give, if it's not giving you the benefits you're looking for, if you are not getting the pay that you need, the fringe benefits you need, you can quiet quit till you figure something out. Whether it's a side hustle that you're working on the side, on the internet, you can provide services. You could the same services you're providing for that employer, you could place them on Fiverr for another employer for a fee on a contract basis. Of course, I'm not saying entrepreneurship is for everybody, but it does give you options. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with quiet quitting if you have a strategy. You can't just quiet quit because you might risk getting fired if they say, "Oh, you're not going above and beyond. You're just doing the bare minimum," and it might affect your job performance. However, if you're not that concerned about the job performance, if all you're doing is pretty much burning up job boards to get another job, or you're working on your side hustle to get it to a point where it can take you out of the job, then I'm all for quiet quitting. But if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing it with a strategy. All right, guys. Do you guys have any suggestions, questions, concerns? Quiet quitting is something that I've heard about. Exactly, Janice. There's no joy in treating your career as if it's a. I like that. Janice said, "No joy in treating your career as if you're a leaf floating downstream." Listen, if it ain't doing what it's doing, honey, change it. We're in 2022. Literally, you can. If you went to college, or you have a trade, or you have a specific skill that you can offer to employers for a fee, whether it's under a virtual assistant type of platform, or it's in the vein of you're on Fiverr and they find you, or it just depends. Guys, we have choices. I'm a career coach that I always believe that you have to become a better version of yourself professionally. Oh, military. Okay, Miss Copious Cat, she brought up something: military translating tips or things that would catch the eyes of HR. Clarify that for me, Miss Copious Cat. What do you mean? You mean translating what? As in translating military lingo, or translating as in languages? Could you clarify that for me, Miss Copious Cat, so I could definitely help? I definitely want to help you guys become a better version of yourselves professionally. So if that means making that transition out of the job, hello, Miss Alyssa. You said in the digital marketing world, we are still hiring every week and need more skilled tech workers. See what I'm talking about, guys? If you have skills in those specific areas, digital marketing, that means marketing on the platforms we're on right now. I'm on Instagram. Hello. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. And I'm also on LinkedIn. Digital marketing is a real thing. And you do not have to spend 4, 5, 6 years in college to learn it. These are some of the things that there's great options out there, guys. But I digress. We're going to talk about the guys. Of course, if you have questions, or you definitely want to say something, definitely drop your question in the chat. Let me see here. She said, let me see, I'll show this. In the digital marketing world, we are still hiring every week and need more tech workers. Guys, literally, it's as simple as opening an account with Skillshare, or going on Udemy and learning about digital marketing, practicing on your own social media networks, and literally getting started. There's no gatekeepers. The only gatekeeper on your career and your, okay, Miss Copious Lingo, you did clarify to civilian legal, or to better explain the market myself. Okay. You know what? Let's have a conversation offline about that. Email me at mentorshelly.com, mentorshelly3@gmail.com, or you can go to mentorshelly.com/contact. Let me put that up here. Let me see. So we can talk about that a little bit more, because I do definitely want to help, but I want to make sure that I maybe help you do some research on that and get things moving for you. Okay. All right. So we're going to work on that. Yeah, there's different kinds of careers you can have and you can do. You don't have to necessarily depend on just, quiet quit, so to speak, until you figure out what you want. In the article's case, the young lady decided, I'm going to quiet quit and put some money away until I figure out what I want to do the bare minimum, until I find another job, or my side hustle gets to a point where I don't need it. I don't need the job anymore, and I'm out. So, guys, that was one article I wanted to look at, because quiet quitting is another term that people have been, kind of throwing out there, especially in the past year or so. People used to call it coasting, quiet quitting, same difference, same logic. Now, I'm going to veer to another video. Now, I'm going to ask you guys to be patient. to exercise the patience, I'm going to exercise. Because when I listen to this video, let's just put it this way. People from different generations unfortunately think people who work for them are slaves. So I want you guys, wonderful Janice, it was great you stopped by. Enjoy your anniversary. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for joining the show. All right, now, guys, let me get to this here video. Lord help school children. That's all I'm going to say about that. My favorite, Mr. Ramsey. Let me turn this camera around so y'all in Instagram can see it too. All right. I am going to play a little bit of this so you guys can get the premise. All right.
Zach starts off this hour in Evansville, Indiana. Hi, Zach. How are you?
Hey, George and Dave.
Hey, what's up?
I'm a Catholic and
I'm sorry, say again?
That's all right. So I'm a Catholic. I've recently had a few conversations with other Catholics on the topic of work. Some of them have an almost socialist perspective on it. They think workers today in the Western world are facing poor working conditions. They argue for a 4-day work week, and they say their employers don't care about them. In some ways, I can understand their concern, as Christians don't want others to be taken advantage of. However, I disagree with their position. Dave?
Okay. Before Dave even opens his mouth, guys, let me get back on the screen here. Before Dave opens his mouth, I want to make sure that you guys heard the question, right? Y'all heard the question. The question is that he doesn't agree with people's stance on working and people, that's employers don't care about their employees. That's been proven time and time again. That's not a lie. And, they're asking for 4-day work weeks, which if it's possible, there's nothing wrong with that. You're still working 40 hours a week. It's just scrunched into 4 days instead of 5. People are asking for more flexibility, which I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for flexibility. However, notice the question he asked. He's talking about, I don't agree with some, I understand their concerns, because you do have a lot of employers that don't care about their employees. They only care about the work that they do. However, that's a question he asked. Now the response, I'm going to say up front, does not answer the question. And it goes off into a tangent, a very ignorant one of that. Let's listen, folks. Let's hear it. Hold on, Instagram. Let me share it with you too.
I was wondering what you would say to these people as someone who is Christian, encourages hard work, long work when needed, and as someone who owns a business.
Right.
Well, there's two sides to the equation. There's the employer side and the employee side.
Of course.
I'm an employer. And as a person of faith, that means I have a responsibility to serve and treat my team well. Okay? As a dad, I have a responsibility to nurture, serve, and take care of my children when they're minors in my home. Taking care of them also includes requiring that they brush their teeth, that they say yes sir and no sir, that they say thank you and learn gratitude, that they learn to work. Loving them well, my children, when they were little, included teaching them to work, included teaching them things that if you were to ask them when I was requiring them to clean up their room and they were 4, they could say, well, my dad has unfair working conditions.
Let me stop right there. Number one, why is there an analogy between you, your employees, you as an employer, and children? Is that how you see your employees? And 2, I am a person of faith as well. However, if there are true unfair working conditions, the employees should have the right to say something, to speak up. Right? Because the tangent gets worse. Here is the problem. I don't think he understands that. I don't think he understood the question, and the rant, of course, does not match at all. I'm gonna let me let me continue. Hold on a second. It gets better. Ooh, it gets better. All right. Yeah.
He's requiring too much of me at 4 years old. But the truth is, I could have cleaned up their room easier than it was to talk them into doing it. But then they would have learned nothing and they would have gained no dignity. As an employer, it's different than parenting.
You think?
There are some parallels in that my goal or my job as a person of faith is to serve my team. But serving my team also sometimes includes allowing them to work somewhere else because they suck at their job.
Hold on. So let me get this straight. Hold up. Allowing them to work somewhere else because of what? Because they want to address unfair working conditions and you don't want to hear it, so they get to. I don't want to make assumptions here, but the rant is going in a very interesting direction. Not a good one. Just saying. What do you mean? Yes, yeah, we know that you can't reason with toddlers, but your employers are not toddlers. It's a very interesting parallel. Why did you make it? Come on, Dave. I'm not understanding. Make it make sense. Being a person of faith doesn't necessarily mean I have to agree with your stance and opinion about this, especially because I've been in human resources 20 years. And based on I did a video on the fact that one of his employees sued him because his lifestyle rules to work there broke several federal laws, including FMLA and the Pregnancy Act. You can go check out. There's a video that I did last March about that particular case. So, Dave, I want to be on your side here, but I also want to be fair. Let me just listen to this a little bit. Let me just hear where he's going with this. Hold on. Instagram, I'm gonna let you listen. But yeah.
We set them free in Jesus' name. I had a young man here that was in sales many years ago, and he was really bad at sales.
Okay.
And we kept talking to him about it, and finally one of our leaders serving him sat down with him and said, young man, you suck at this. What is it that you want to do with your life? He said, I really want to be a photographer.
Okay.
And we said, okay, well, let me help you show you how to be a photographer. We actually have a small business thing here called Entre Leadership, and we coached him and loved him and fired him because he was awful at sales. Oh, by the way, he's now a world-class photographer.
Okay, well, if that's the case, in that situation, I get it. They supported him. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. If he wasn't good at his job and he wasn't taking care of his supposed duties, then it's time for him to go. I get that. All right. Let's listen a little bit more, because I know there's some other things there that I listened to this earlier. Okay.
Some of the album covers that you see from Nashville artists, the guy shot, but he sucked as a salesman.
Okay.
So that is, what are unfair working conditions? That mean old Ramsey people fired me. Well, you sucked. And guess what? You went on to become the best possible version of yourself. And we were loving you well when we fired you. We actually cared about you when we were firing you.
In that case, I can see that.
We actually cared about you when your mama had cancer and we paid for your airline ticket to go visit her. We actually cared about you when we do all these things to serve you and help you and love you. But we also actually require that while you're here at work, that you work.
Okay.
And I don't really want to hear about your whining and your social act.
Now, Dave, everything is not whining and socialism and all this other stuff. Ugh. Yeah, unfortunately. Dave has a tendency to be a little toxic sometimes. It just depends on the subject matter. Unfortunately, this gets worse. Hold on. There's more. Hold on a second. It's coming down the pike because let's hear this.
Activism. I'll fire your little butt for that.
There's nothing wrong with activism, Dave.
So, we're not going to unionize it, Ramsey. I can just promise you that.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. I'll just shut the dadgum place down.
Now, I'll say this. There's a lot of employers that are very much so against unionism. The intent of it when it first started in the 1930s, 1940s, the purpose of unionization was great. The functions of most unions now is nowhere near where it's supposed to be. And a lot of it is more of a money grab than it is actually helping employees. So just collecting union dues and really not doing much of anything. I have personal experience with people that are in my life that I know very well that was a part of a union, and they did absolutely nothing besides take the money out of their check and not really help situations. So there's a lot of employers that don't want that kind of a headache because it adds a lot more stress, not to the organization, but eventually to the employees, because it's the whole point of having a union is to benefit employees, and a lot of the unions aren't doing their job either. So I get that, but it's coming. It's coming. All right.
So, here's the thing. You work, you get paid. You do the work. You get loved. We love each other. We're all...
Dave, stop talking about love. I'm sorry. I have to come on and say this. You're not going at your job to be loved. You're going to your job because you are performing your duties at the job, and they're paying you for it. You're performing a duty and you're handling responsibilities so they can increase their bottom line, and they are paying you for it. It's not about love. So cut the crap. It's not about love, Dave. It is literally people are doing a job, handling a specific function in your organization, and they are getting paid to do that. It's not about love. So let's not do that whole, gerrymandering Jedi mind trick crap. Cut that out. Let's continue. I do not like when listen, he literally just said, if you're not doing your job, he's going to fire your butt. But then you talk about love. No, cut that crap out. It's not about love. You are conducting business. And if who you have conducting that particular function of your business is not doing their job, you're going to fire them. It has nothing to do with love. So stop talking about love. Ugh. Let's continue.
Working together to pull off the same thing. I don't know why a bunch of adults can't do this. I don't know why we have to juxtaposition employers against employees in order to call.
Dave, I hate to break it to you. This is where you are unfortunately old-fashioned and narrow-minded. Because the goal of the employee is to earn more money so they can take care of their responsibility. The goal of the employee is to earn more money so they can take care of their responsibilities. The goal of the employer is to make as much money as possible to increase your capital and to pay employees as little as possible to do as much of the job as you possibly can. Okay? And of course, copious. You're of course contributing to this, and then put the man's business about his mother out there. Jeez, I'm not I'm not a marshmallow, but he is toxic. He gives employers Stockholm effect. Yeah, I can see how you can say that, and you're probably going to say that even more when we get further in that video. Oh, it's bad, y'all. It's bad. Because, unfortunately, I'm going to say this and you're going to see it. Contradicts himself. Let's continue.
All that, some kind of spiritual movement. The goal, the truth is, we're supposed to love each other. I'm supposed to love them well, and they're supposed to love us back and do their work. And it's not me extracting from the labor market and not them extracting from me in the name of some twisted form of fairness that they came up with and somehow put Jesus on that. That one.
Hold up. So you're not supposed to be fair in your organization and in your work? So you're not supposed to be fair to employees? Huh, Dave? There's a problem with that now? Being fair? Okay. Oh, Dave.
It's really ridiculous. But, you know, some people can put Jesus on anything. Put Jesus on a peanut
Apparently
butter
you're doing it too.
Theology. It's ridiculous, but
you're being ridiculous.
Theology. It's a peanut butter sandwich. So,
that's a brand new sentence for me.
Right. Oh, gosh. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, no, I'm with you, Zach. I mean, you read your little statement. I disagree with your friends. It's not got anything to do with Catholicism versus Protestantism. I can't even say it. Protestantism. It's got to do with a clean view of Scripture, which involves loving each other well. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. The second of the greatest commandments, Jesus said, to Catholics and to Protestants equally. And so, you know, this idea that all employers are evil and should be punished and all form here, because for some of these little snowflakes work at all.
Hold on. I don't remember the guy saying that. He didn't say that. He did not say that. So what is Dave talking about? He did not say that. Oh, that's part of the problem, dude. You're taking stuff out of context and you're saying all kinds of things that the guy didn't say anything about that. So where's Dave getting that from? Oh, boy. Okay. Yikes.
All is unfair.
It's not fair that we have to work to live, Dave.
It's unfair that you require me to work while I'm at work.
That's not what he said, Dave. What he said is that there may be working conditions that could be adjusted, is what he said. That's what the guy said. He didn't say anything about people not wanting to work at all. Oh my God. That's the problem I have. Instead of just answering the question, you go off on a tangent and say and answer a question that wasn't asked. Listening is important here. Like, that's not what the guy asked. He said something about working conditions and possibly have, people asking your employers to work, instead of working 5 days a week, work 4 days a week, to see if there's flexibility, things of that nature. That was what the guy said. His friends may not be in agreement with him, but that's what was said. Not this whole... Dave, I'm going to need you to get it together, because you answered a question that wasn't asked.
And I want to work from home where I don't really work.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me hear.
But I'm at home and I still collect a check. And, oh, by the way, I've got 3 of those work at home jobs now, which means I'm now stealing officially.
Oh, wait a minute. Press pause. First of all, Dave, did you not say in Total Money Makeover that people should work 2, 3 jobs, right? To pay off their debts? Did you not say that in your book, Dave? So why is it that because they're working from home, the assumption is that people are not working? That is a very egregious assumption to make. Number one, I personally work from home and I worked my butt off. I worked more when I was working from home than I worked in the office. When people are working 8 hours in the office, most people that work from home are working 4, 8, 9, 10 hours. So stop with the, regressive mentality that you have about people that work from home. Did your team not work from home for a temporary period of time? Why is it that all of a sudden now that you make the assumption that people are working 2 remote jobs from home are all of a sudden not working? If they're handling their responsibilities and putting out their meeting their objectives for their job, all of a sudden that's exactly credit solutionist. It's all lies. And the fact that that's what you jump to, that's your assumption, that means you know nothing about people that are doing overemployment. Because I worked 2 jobs and I busted my butt. I barely got any sleep because I was actually doing both jobs. Isn't that what you encourage in Total Money Makeover, Dave? So how in the world now you're on this video accusing people that work 2 jobs from home that they're not working? You cannot, in your right mind, make that assumption because it is absolute lies. I don't even want to go any further with this video. That's how upsetting it is. I have no problem with people that, as a career coach, people that do overemployment. Because a lot of those folks, like myself that was doing 2 jobs, was able to pay off that. Isn't that? I was in Dave's program when I was working 2 jobs, and I was able to pay off the second mortgage on the house. I was able to pay off my car loan. Isn't that what your program encourages, Dave? So all of a sudden now, people that work from home are not working and collecting 2 checks. I busted my butt from home. So unfortunately, there's another YouTuber called Joshua Fluke called the Boomer Mentality. This is definitely Boomer Mentality, and you're lying straight through your teeth. You know, I am going to do thank you, Credit Solutionist. I'll bring that up. I'll definitely talk about the fact that I was working 2 jobs. I did that, in the last year or 2 or so? I busted my behind. I was going to bed at 1 a.m. and I was up at 5. And the nerve he has to say people that are doing 2 jobs from home is not working is absolutely ludicrous. It's false. And you are very wrong for making that assumption. And as a Christian woman, you need to talk to God about what comes out of your mouth, Dave. Because just like how I have to be accountable to God, so do you. You're not above reproach, and you're not above the word. So the fact that you thought it was okay to make that assumption about people when they're busting their tail, doing what you said to do in your Total Money Makeover book, is absolutely ludicrous. And what little respect I had for you as a money coach is almost out the window because you made such a wrong assumption. You know? Yeah, I'll definitely share that in Credit Solutionist in another video. The people that are doing overemployment are busting their tail. Most people are doing their jobs. And there's some employers that find out and don't do anything. You know why? Because those people are doing their jobs. They're giving their deliverables timely. They're at the meetings they're supposed to be. It got to a point where I couldn't hold out on it anymore. I'm not gonna lie to you. It got to a point where it was hard, and one of my jobs ended. But I'll talk about that in more detail in another video. But guys, after that whole rant, and he goes on to say even worse things. If you guys want to go ahead and find the video, if you guys want to go ahead and watch that video, the title of it is Are Americans Facing Unfair Conditions? I'm not even going to put the link in there because that whole comment was completely off-putting and incorrect. For the maybe 10% of people that do that, they're the other 90% that's busting their butts to get out of debt. And that's what you encourage people to do. You talk about beans and rice and beans. And when people actually get a job, 2 jobs working from home to do exactly that, now it's a problem. They're not working. That is arbitrary and capricious, Dave. In other words, it's bullcrap. So that's my little rant on Mr. Dave Ramsey. And the contradiction. You say one thing in your book, you say one thing in your program, and you're talking about something else totally different, all because you view overemployment as bad. Because you make the assumption people aren't working. You know, that it just boggles the mind. That unfortunately people's mindset and mentality takes them to a place that it's so destructive. So now people watching his show that are not familiar with overemployment, that's not familiar with what that means, that's not familiar with how it works, will automatically assume that people that are working from home, and they may be working 2 jobs, or they may have 2 contracts they're doing as an independent contractor, is not working and not doing anything if they don't have another frame of reference, if they don't educate themselves. Because he sounds like a fool right now. Because what he's saying is absolutely not true. But that's Dave for you. He's a boomer. It is what it is. He has his mentality, and unfortunately, his organization, Credit Solutionist. Please, I'm saying, the odd thing is that he will disrespect the person that is overemployed, but won't offer to pay more so the person doesn't have to become overemployed in the first place. Man, listen, that is a bar right there. How in the world are you going to tell people work like your life depends on it to get out of debt? And when they do, you make the assumption they're not working. They're just sitting at home collecting 2 checks. How dare you? How dare you? And if you guys are not familiar with the term overemployed, this is the last subject that I'm going to be touching on tonight. And if you guys have questions, definitely put them in the chat, because being overemployed helped me to get out of some debt. Had I been able to hold on to that other job a little bit longer, I could have been completely out of debt. Following supposedly Dave rules that he just thinks overemployment is people are just, taking people's checks and not working. Come on, Dave. Are you that stupid? No, he has old school mentality. Old school mentality thinks you have to put your eyes on folks to work to make sure that they're working. You don't have a trust factor for people working from home. So that's why your approach to it is that way. If you're overemployed, you're working twice as hard. If you're doing a project versus you're in a position where you have certain deliverables that you have to complete, you're doing project management or IT or recruiters. I know of recruiters that ended up doing overemployment, ended up paying off, one of them ended up paying off their house. But he was busting his butt, making sure he's sourcing for his talent for both jobs. I was watching one of the videos on YouTube. So Dave's whole idea and premise and mindset about overemployment is absolutely ludicrous, and it's incorrect. And he needs to change his mindset and find out what's really going on with overemployment, instead of making the assumption that people aren't working, because it's not true. I can personally attest to that because I've done it. I didn't get a lot of sleep for those months. I'll say that for sure. But, it's unfortunate that people, older people especially from that generation, make that assumption. There are also some of those people that own organizations. However, you can own your own organization too. You just have to work at it. Information is out here, guys. So as you guys clearly can tell, I am a huge supporter of overemployment because I know what it can do if it's done right. I know what it can do if you structure yourself properly. I do have ways to be successful at overemployment. I have that video on my YouTube channel as well. I'm going to link it in the show notes once the show is done. But guys, if you guys have questions, concerns about anything resume, if you guys have questions about your resume, if you have questions about your interview, I do offer interview coaching. And also Instagram folks, y'all gonna have to join on YouTube Live because I'm gonna just show them a little bit about the book. You can go to youtube.com/Mentor Shelley to find the live. All right. Bye, Instagram. Now, here is the book. If you have teenagers at home, folks, if you have teenagers at home, here is the book that I created from Clueless Teenager down here to Consummate Professional up here. Can you see it? Because the light's a little bright. It says 7 steps to cultivating the career and economic life that you want. For those wonderful teenagers of yours, if you want them out of your house and independent, get them this book. If you don't want them coming back after college, get them this book. I talk about credit in here. I talk about establishing your career from figuring out what it is you want to do and the steps to do it. Just to give you a little synopsis here. Formulating your career and economic plan for your life. That's chapter 1. Formulating your action plan. In order for you to do something, you want to have a plan. So you're not going east thinking you're going west. Oh, hi SB, how you doing? Wonderful. I am more than happy to answer that question for you because guess what? It's on page 65 in chapter 6 in the book. How to prepare and present yourself in job interviews. Let's go right to it, shall we? Wonderful. I have, let's see here, page 65. Now, how do you become better at interviewing? You ever heard him say practice makes perfect? I'm going to tell you that for my personal experience, when I tell you palms sweaty, nervous, like I don't know what, when I first started going on job interviews as a young adult, my first 3 jobs, I was just happy to get the interview. I didn't know what to do until I started doing research, until I started reading articles as to little tips here and there. And then, of course, I started going to school for human resources. You can become better at interviewing if you practice. Part of what I offer in the interview coaching and part of what I talk about in chapter 6 here is practicing for your specific field. Let's say you are in fashion design, right? You can literally go to the Google machine on this or on one of these and look up interview questions for fashion design. Okay, this is something, of course, I would put together if you're going through interview coaching with me. So I'm giving you a quick version of that right now. Look up interview questions for fashion design. It's most likely going to give you answers from a blog, answers from different credible places, probably a career coach website like myself, things of that nature for your specific field. It's going to actually pull questions that you should start working on the responses to those questions and grab somebody that's in your life, a sister, friend, brother, sister, friend, daddy, mama, whoever can sit with you and literally ask you the questions. And then you respond, making sure that if somebody asks you, so where did you learn or when did you start doing fashion design? Well, I actually started to learn about it in high school in the fashion design program that they offered. I was in the fashion design program for the last 2 years of high school. And then I went to a vocational program So, at the XYZ school, and we learned not just in class and books, but we also made samples on how to design evening wear, to design menswear, to design high fashion. And we were able to exhibit those fashion pieces in XYZ show. And also, when you're answering that question, if you're referring to something you did, you should also have, I don't have my portfolio down here with me, crap. You should also have in a portfolio some form of samples, pictures to show. So when you're answering interview questions, you not only want to say, well, I have the educational background, but here are some of the samples because I know what I'm talking about. I can show you that I've done it before. So when you're answering interview questions, you may have to tell yourself not to be nervous, but if you practice enough, even if it means having the person in your life practice with you. If you're doing an interview coaching session with me, I will practice with you. If you need to do that 1, 2, or 3 more times to make sure you're good for that interview, but pick out at least 10 of those questions that is geared to fashion design. 9 times out of 10, because people I have coached in the past, once upon a time, 10 plus years ago, I helped this young lady. She was an LPN working with me in the hospital when I was living in Fort Lauderdale. And she came in as a temp, but she wanted to get a position in the emergency room. She said, could you help me? And I said, okay, let's pull the questions that they're going to ask you in the emergency room. And literally, we practiced a couple of times. And I literally pulled like 6 or 7 questions. And 4 out of those 7 questions, she got in the actual interview because she took the time to prepare. SB, does that answer your question? Let me know in the chat. If it doesn't, or if you are looking for help in that specific area, I do have a resource available. You can find it at mentorshelley.com/interview, or you can go to mentorshelley.gumroad.com. I do have an interview prep resource available as well. But if what I just explained didn't help, let me know. If it did, let me know in the chat as well. All right. So does anybody have any other questions in regard to that? I just wanted to touch on this because there are resources. You really do have to practice. But I do have this available. It's an ebook online. I just have the actual paperback. I am actually, guys, getting ready to republish this book on Amazon. And in another month or so, there's going to be an audio version to this book. All right. So there are some things coming down the pike, and I do have some other services and products coming to help you guys to become better versions of yourself professionally. Remember, guys, it doesn't matter what people. Oh, no problem, SB. That's what I'm here to do, to help you become a better version of yourself. Of course, if you guys have additional questions after this show is done, you can go to mentorshelley.com/contact, where you can leave me a voicemail or an email message, and I'm more than happy to return that voicemail or email within 24 hours, guys. If you found any of the information that we discussed tonight with quiet quitting, with overemployment, and Dave's old school narrow-minded rant, let me sip some water on that. Hold on. Whew, Jesus. Now, if you found any of that helpful, definitely share this video, like, comment, subscribe. I'll definitely be doing another video about my own personal overemployment experience. So, unfortunately, narrow-minded people like Dave think that people that are doing 2 jobs aren't working. Silly goose. Tricks are not for kids, but your mentality sounds like it. So, guys, this is Mentor Shelley. Want to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally. You can visit my website at mentorshelley.com, or you can, of course, wherever you're listening right now, whether it be on Facebook at mentorshelley.com, Mentor Shelley's Place on Facebook. Hello, Joan. They require 30 days notice. Well, there's if there's an emergency and you gotta go, you gotta go. In regards to working for organizations, and if you're being mistreated, if you feel like this is not the place for you, nobody's gonna hold me for 30 days. As a therapist, there may be there may be some different requirements there. As far as 30 days requirement, that's the first. I guess it maybe just be unique to that particular industry. They require a 30-day notice. Well, what is it? Is that industry standard? Because I don't think I've heard of that before. As far as as far as therapist goes, I was thinking it was like any other job. If you decide to quit, you can quit. It shouldn't be you shouldn't be so tied to an organization that you do yourself a disservice. So, unfortunately, all companies that I've worked for require 30-day notice. Most companies, they can't really, if you have to go, unless you're under contract, you should be able to leave earlier than that if you want to. Some of the requirements some of these companies have that they're not willing to give you themselves. Some employers are wonderful, and then there are some employers that are absolute trash. Hopefully, you get to work with them. Yes, some companies are 2 weeks, but most of them. Oh, okay. So you're not necessarily required to do the 30-day notice. You have to do the 30-day notice in order to get your PTO. Okay, I figured there's a benefit attached to it. That makes more sense. So I'm like, no company can really hold on to you for a whole month if you gotta go. If you gotta go, you got an offer, you get put in your 2 weeks notice. That's just what it is. So, I mean, that's definitely understandable, especially when they're giving you money. They can put stipulations in place as to what you have to do to get to those monies. So that's understandable too. In most cases, though, guys, when you're dealing with employers, you always have to keep in mind that what I'm doing right now, is this going to benefit me in the long run, or is this just going to benefit the employer? That's the question you got to ask yourself. And at the end of the day, whether you end the relationship with the employer or the employer ends the relationship with you, you are in the business of you. Always remember that. Guys, if you found any of this information helpful and you know somebody that's either quiet quitting right now or looking into overemployment, share this with them. Or if you have anyone that has high schoolers or college graduates that have no idea what they're going to do with their lives economically, definitely go to mentorshelley.com/book. They can pick this up as an ebook and read it from their phone. And in a few weeks, it will be available on Amazon and in audio versions. So, guys, if you have any other questions, definitely leave them in the chat or leave them in the comments. I check my comments all the time, so I am very responsive when it comes to that. And also, you can go to mentorshelley.com/contact, or you can leave me a voicemail or an email message. I am more than happy to return your voicemail or email within 24 hours, guys. I do appreciate you joining me in the show tonight. Thank you so much. And of course, like, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Join the page on Facebook. Follow me on the on LinkedIn and wherever you see Mentor Shelley, because I am also on TikTok, but I don't have enough followers yet. I'm still learning that, guys. All right, guys, take care. Y'all have a good night. Mentor Shelley over and out. Y'all have a good one. Bye.